Donald Trump's tariffs war continues to hit global markets.
And Trump's announcement of universal tariffs on the whole world, including the European Union, is a major blow.
The decision announced last night is both brutal and unfounded.
Die jüngsten Zollentscheidungen des US-Präsidenten halte ich für grundfalsch.
Never before have relations between the United States and Europe been on such a knife's edge. That is how officials behind the scenes of the European Commission are describing the situation today. What may seem at first glance like another round in the endless economic dispute between NATO allies is, in reality, on the verge of becoming the deepest geopolitical rupture in decades. We will not tolerate economic blackmail, declare officials in Berlin. If Washington closes its market to us, we will find a way to respond, echo voices from Paris. Meanwhile, Rome and Madrid are already preparing lists of goods that will be subject to retaliatory tariffs. All of this is a reaction to a move that just a few years ago seemed unthinkable: full 20% tariffs on cars and auto parts from the European Union, imposed personally by Donald Trump. And now, attention, more than $150 billion of annual trade is at stake. Why does this matter to us? Why should this concern the German consumer, the German farmer, or the business owners from Bavaria or Hamburg? Because we are now at the very epicenter of a new global trade storm. So, what exactly happened? On April 2nd, 2025, U.S., President Donald Trump signed an executive order imposing 20% tariffs on all cars and auto parts imported from the European Union. This comes in addition to already existing tariffs on steel, aluminum, agricultural products, and electronic components. But the blow to the auto industry became the breaking point, not only because Germany exports $210 billion worth of goods to the U.S. each year, but because the automotive sector is the backbone of all European industry. If America attacks our auto industry, we will respond symmetrically, declared the German Minister of Economy. It is in Germany today that retaliatory tariffs are being prepared for American brand vehicles, primarily pickup trucks, sports cars, and parts from Ford and GM. A similar tone is being heard in France, where officials are considering tariffs on American alcohol, whiskey, bourbon, liqueurs. In Italy, they are targeting the textile sector, especially jeans and sportswear from the United States. Spain and Poland have set their sights on agricultural products, corn, soybeans, and meat. And here is where it gets most interesting. While official representatives are speaking of negotiations, behind the scenes, a punishment list is already being compiled. According to insider information from Brussels, the European Commission is working on a package of retaliatory measures that would impact more than $150 billion worth of American goods. Who will be affected? The American automotive industry, steel and aluminum, electronics and microchips, clothing and footwear, agricultural products, pharmaceuticals, and even alcohol. Essentially, everything on which the American export economy is built could come under fire. But why has Europe suddenly become so resolute? The answer is simple. In Brussels, they have realized, if this blow is swallowed now, the next one will be fatal. This is not just a conflict over a few percentage points of tariffs. This is a matter of strategic survival. It is symbolic that Germany and France are now standing as a united front. Not long ago, there were serious disagreements between Berlin and Paris over energy, migration, and defense. But now Europe has a new number one enemy, Trump's tariffs. And on this front, it is finally united. This is not merely a series of trade maneuvers. This is the beginning of a new era of geoeconomics. According to fresh Bloomberg data, if the tariffs are implemented, the volume of American exports to the EU could shrink to $200 billion. The losses will affect not only manufacturers but thousands of jobs. Even now, American companies like Tesla, Ford, and Caterpillar are reconsidering their supply strategies for Europe. And what about consumers? According to the latest report from the Anderson Economic Group, Europeans could face a price increase of up to 15% on American vehicles, alcoholic beverages up to 20%, electronics between 12 and 17%, and pharmaceuticals, even with a modest tariff of 5 to 10%, budgets within European healthcare systems may need to be reallocated. And this is where emotion comes into play. Imagine a family in Bavaria that is used to buying a Ford Explorer at an affordable price. Now it will cost 7,000 euros more. Or an elderly person in Lyon who critically depends on a medication from an American pharmaceutical company. Tariffs will make it simply unaffordable. Do you now understand the scale? But wait, this is only the beginning. Behind the scenes, even more alarming signals are sounding. If the United States continues to raise the stakes, the European Union may not limit its response to economic measures. Already, discussions are underway in some circles about potential restrictions on joint scientific and technological projects, limitations in the defense industry, and even a review of energy cooperation agreements. Meanwhile, tensions are also rising in the United States. Representatives of agricultural lobbies in Texas and Iowa are sounding the alarm. The EU is one of the largest markets for American agricultural products. Losing such a market would mean bankruptcy for tens of thousands of farmers. And that represents a political threat to Trump himself. All of this paints a picture where everyone loses. We are entering a phase of a trade war where both sides are losing control of the situation. What happens next? There are two scenarios. The first, escalation. The United States increases pressure, the EU responds with new tariffs, and the world enters an era of isolationism and protectionism, where every nation is for itself. This is the scenario of the 1930s, only now with nuclear weapons and a global digital economy. The second, negotiations. Both sides sit at the table, and a painful process begins to create a new trade agreement, possibly even larger in scale than ever before. But for the second scenario to begin, pressure is required, and that is exactly what Europe is doing right now. This is not aggression. This is a strategic show of strength. Europe is tired of being the quiet ally of the United States. Now it's showing its teeth. And the issue is not just about money. The real question is whether Europe can prove that it is an equal player, not just a background character in someone else's geopolitical play. So, who will win? That remains unknown. But one thing is clear. If you thought tariffs were a boring topic for technocrats in suits, you were mistaken. This is about the future of our price tags, our jobs, our sovereignty. What do you think about this? Is Europe's resolve justified? Or is it walking a dangerous line, risking plunging us all into an economic storm? Share your opinion. Because now, the most interesting part is just beginning.